Welcome back to our series that we're calling Whittle Down Wednesday because I post a video every Wednesday. Basically, I am whittling down my pantry and my freezer in order to save some money for a trip we're taking this fall. It's like shopping in your own pantry and freezer, so you can save money and spend less at the grocery store each week. So I love to have a stocked up pantry and freezer. But there's times where you need to whittle it down, where things are becoming close dated, or you just want to save some money. And this is a great way to save money by shopping your own pantry and freezer. This week is a little bit different because I am switching gears on when I'm going to the grocery store. I usually go at the end of the week, and now I'm going to start going at the beginning of the week for a few reasons. But because of that, I saved a lot extra this week because instead of going at the end of the week, I pushed it off to next week. So you'll see that. Plus, we did a Ruby's Pantry haul this week, so that'll be fun. Stay tuned for that. And then, of course, our normal 7 days of meals. This week, we went to the county fair for one day, so we'll show you all the fun fair food we ate too. Now for day one, I'm making one of my favorite new recipes, and that is taco chili. It's basically like my regular chili recipe, except using taco seasoning and a few other extra little things added in. I started off by browning some ground beef, and then I added in some minced onions, some taco seasoning packets, a little bit extra garlic. And then I always like to season my meat first so it gets in all those little nooks and crannies of that meat. And then I add everything else. So I love stewed tomatoes, but all I had was diced in sauce. And I'm trying to whittle down my pantry, so of course I'm going to use what I have. I added some tomato sauce, some green chilies, a couple of cans of beans that I had in the pantry. And I could tell right away when I was stirring this that it really did need a little bit more sauce. So if you're like me, you just keep on adding things until it's just perfect. Now I had some leftover corn from the corn on the cob last week, so I added that in. And then I decided I will just add all the rest of the corn, and we need one more can of sauce. And now this was the perfect consistency. And then I just let this simmer on the stove, and you can tell this is a big batch of taco chili, but this works so perfectly as leftovers. Now that it is done, the flavors are all melded together. I let that simmer on the stove for about a half an hour or so. Tonight we're just going to eat this like chili, but I love my chili with some chips on the side. So I brought in some tortilla chips to eat on the side with this. And what's so great about making a big batch of chili is I was able to put 3 containers away, and each one of these containers is going to be a full meal for us because I'm going to add it to something else in future meals coming up. And now as we're on to day 2, we were invited over to a friend's house for dinner. So we don't have a dinner to show you, but I am going to show you William's lunch. He has been eating a lot healthier lately, and he loves to have protein bowls for lunch. So today he's having cottage cheese, blueberries, some peanuts for a nice crunch in there. He added a little bit of honey and some cinnamon on top. He does this with cottage cheese. Sometimes he does it with Greek yogurt, and you know he's legally blind, so this is a nice meal that he's able to make for himself for lunch. If he's not having something like this, he also enjoys overnight oats or even sandwiches for lunch. Now, I happened to mow the lawn that day, and when I was out there, I noticed we had a few pears on our pear tree that are really turning ripe. And this tree has been through some hard times the past couple of years. It's lost some limbs, and it is healing quite well, but it doesn't have as many pears as usual. But since it has a few, I thought I would pick a couple. I'm going to let the rest get kind of ripe, and I'm going to make a recipe out of those. But for today, I'm just going to pick a couple of these pears, and I'm going to take them inside and have them for a snack. We don't spray our tree, so sometimes they do have misshapen parts or, parts where bugs might have poked a hole in them, things like that. I just cut those off. They're perfectly fine to eat. Like you can see that spot right there. And that's not dirt. It's just the way the pear looks. It's nothing you can wash out, and it's perfectly fine. I've been eating the pears off this tree for the last 18 years, so I know they are just fine. Any spots that are bad, I just cut off. And then I had a piece of cheese with it on this day. Pears and cheese are perfect, or pears and cheese and crackers. It is a great snack. So I love this time of year when I can just go out and pick a fresh pear right off the tree.
And now the next day, we went to Ruby's Pantry.
So the first grocery haul of the week is going to be Ruby's Pantry. You guys hear me talk about it all the time, but we haven't been there in a couple months. This is a food share program where we spend $25 and you just get a share of food. And it's usually close dated, maybe a little bit outdated, or overages. So some of the things have dates way out, but they're just an overage. So here's all the stuff we got. You can't even see everything. Do you have a favorite before I go through everything?
I think for value's sake, in terms of the Whittle Down Wednesday and saving groceries, 5 romaine lettuces.
You know who's gonna love this.
They're very close dated. In fact, like 2 days ago, I think. But I'll have some salad. Tonight's family night, pizza night. I'm thinking about having a salad with my pizza. And then our guinea pig will eat those. And that is a clip of $4 every time we get groceries for that. So that's a win-win.
And we have a bunny in our backyard, so if they get too bad, I'm gonna go put them out there. I love critters. My favorite is probably this I Love Life cereal, and I've never seen strawberry blueberry, so I'm really excited about this. But we got some great stuff. I'm gonna bring the camera closer so you can see everything. So here's the Ruby's Pantry haul. We'll just go through each thing. We got a whole big bag of these jalapeno cheddar kettle cooked chips. Now we do have a local little library food pantry not too far from us, so we're probably gonna put some in there because we definitely don't need a whole big bag full of these chips, and I think someone would love to share those. Sweet potato fries, I'm so excited about these. I love sweet potato fries. A Life cereal like you already saw that I got, and lots of apple cider vinegar. Give me your thoughts on what to do with that. This big chunk of frozen potatoes, it is heavy. What do you think that is? Like
10 pounds maybe?
10 pounds, it's a lot.
Yeah.
We have some hoagie rolls and some breakfast sausage, a few different sodas, lots of lettuce, lots and lots of lettuce. I'm excited about these. Dill pickles from Famous Dave's, those look good. Some cans of corn, some veggies, a loaf of bread, a couple packs of potatoes, some multi-brand flakes. Once upon a time, this is like baby food, but it really just tastes like applesauce, and some cookies. A pretty good haul from Ruby's Pantry.
So just like I mentioned earlier, we have this little free pantry at a church down the street from our house. And because we got so many great things at the Ruby's Pantry haul, we decided we want to bring them down here and share them. You can see right now what's in the pantry already. I added some of those chips and the cookies and some of the soda. We had a few canned goods and then some popsicles, and of course some of that vinegar. I don't have it all on film, but I did take quite a few items down there to help fill up this little pantry for others that might be in need and could just use a few items. Our Ruby's Pantry happens to always fall on our pizza night or our family night, so the day before I had gone to Papa Murphy's and bought this pizza so we could cook it right after we put our Ruby's Pantry haul away. It was easy and convenient. We are loving this Papa Murphy's pizza. We did not have a gift card though, so I do have to add this to the grocery budget, but this was a delicious meal for day 3. And we're on to day 4, and since we got so much salad from Ruby's Pantry, we are going to make some taco salad. So I pulled that taco chili out of the freezer, even though it's only been there a couple days. I crumbled up some tortilla chips on top of my lettuce and added on that taco chili. This is like having the meat, the beans, the veggies, the sauce, the tomatoes, everything all in one. It is so good. I sprinkled a little bit of cheese on top. And honestly, these taco salads have been one of my new favorite foods. So this was a great meal for day 4. Now we're on to day 5, and we got that loaf of bread from the Ruby's Pantry haul, and it was expired. So I just looked it over to make sure it was fine, and I'm gonna make some stuffing out of this. So I just cut this up into little cubes, and then I'm gonna let it sit on the counter for a while to dry out. And then I had this package of pork chops that just had 2 pork chops, and that's kind of hard to feed a family of 3 with 2 pork chops. So I decided to make just a little bit of pork and gravy in the crock pot. I just cut those into cubes, added the gravy, a cup of water, and I let that cook on high in the crock pot for about 4 hours. This was super simple, and I'm totally going to make it again. It was really, really good. While that was cooking, I'm going to finish the stuffing. So that is some celery, some chopped up onion. I put in some butter, of course, and some chicken broth. Poured that all over my bread. Now, this is not a great bread for stuffing. I will admit that, but we had it and I wanted to use it. So I put that in the oven, and then I got the potatoes ready. And I just made some homemade mashed potatoes with the potatoes from, of course, the Ruby's Pantry haul. Added some butter and some milk and some salt, and that was a really quick way to make some homemade mashed potatoes. Added that pork on top. That turned out so nice and tender. And we have such an abundance of canned vegetables. We're going to have some canned carrots on the side. And then, of course, that stuffing. And again, that bread was not the perfect bread to use. This was pretty gummy stuffing, but it turned out to be quite tasty. Now we're on to day 6, and we went to the county fair, and the first thing we're going to try is this pickle pizza. Now, I've had pickle pizza before, and I really do like it, so I was excited about this. Of course, we fought bees the whole time we were at the fair, but this was so good. It was like ranchy, and it had a nice white cream sauce and some cheese. Really delicious. Now, of course, you can't go to Wisconsin without getting some great Wisconsin cheese curds. And I'm not talking about those ones from Culver's. Now, they're fine, but they are not the same as a good Wisconsin cheese curd. You want the nice yellow cheddar cheese with the good batter on it. Not breading, but batter. These are perfect. We know how to make cheese curds in Wisconsin, trust me. These were burning lava hot, so we needed to let them cool off for just a minute though. I grabbed some lemonade at the lemonade stand, and this poor guy, there were 2 kids working at the lemonade stand, and can you see all of those bees? It was insane. I asked the guy who took my money, I said, "Hey, have you got stung today?" And he gave me a quick 1-word answer, which was yes. So I felt so bad for them, but this fresh squeezed lemonade was so delicious and always something I like to get at the fair. Now here's William. He had a corn dog. That's a traditional fair food, of course. I picked out this Polish sausage with peppers and onions, and I'm telling you guys, this is going to be my new favorite fair food. This sausage was so delicious and savory. It was just warm. Everything that a great Wisconsin sausage should be. It was so good. I'm going to go in for a second bite with all those peppers and onions and the bun, and I can't express to you how good this was. But now we're on to the cheese curds, of course. See how big that is? And what's perfect about these is that cheese pull. It is delicious, a little bit chewy, warm. That breading is just light. Everything about these cheese curds is just delicious. And here's William with his cheese pull. If you haven't been to a Wisconsin fair with cheese curds, come on up because we know how to make them. They are so delicious. And that's our fair food for day 6. Now we're on to day 7, and I needed something healthy in my system because all that fair food was making me feel kind of bad. So I'm going to make some nice soup just with some things we have lying around. We have too much milk. Before this milk goes bad, I need to make something with it. So I decided to make a big bowl of creamy soup. So I just made a roux with some flour and some butter. And then I just used some of the potatoes we had from that Ruby's Pantry haul. And I have this partial bag of Normandy blend veggies in the freezer. So I just thawed those out a little bit, cut them into some smaller pieces, and we're just going to load this all in that soup. I knew whittling down our pantry and our freezer that we would start to have some meals that were a little bit interesting, and this is one of them. This is no kind of recipe I know, I'm just winging it. I added some crushed red pepper flakes, some minced onion, and then some chicken broth, which is normally what I would make my soup base with, but we wanted to use up that milk. And then some of this buttery steakhouse seasoning because I've been putting it on everything. some garlic salt, and then I just stirred this all around. The seasonings were great. The veggies turned out to be just fine in there. I let it start to simmer on the stove and I just covered it up until those potatoes were nice and tender. Now, while that was simmering on the stove, I have this partial block of cheese left over from that taco chili salad we had. So I just shredded that up. I thought, why not have a creamy, cheesy vegetable soup? So once I shredded that up, I added it to the veggie soup. Now, normally my potato soup, I'll mash my potatoes with a potato masher just to make them a little bit smaller pieces and really thicken up the soup. But my potato masher was dirty from when I made mashed potatoes. It was in the dishwasher. So instead, I just used my meat chopper and it worked perfectly. It did the same thing a potato masher would do. Now we have a nice, thick, hearty, cheesy vegetable soup. And this is exactly what I needed after all of those rich, fattening foods from the fair. This was a perfect meal for day 7 and lots of leftovers for supper too. Each week, I like to remind you that the USDA estimates that a family spends between $240 and $300 each week on groceries. Our weekly budget is $250, but that does include some toiletries, pet food, and miscellaneous items for 3 adults. This week we spent $11.59 at Papa Murphy's and $26 at Ruby's Pantry. So we saved $212.41, and that's over $1,400 so far.
That's so exciting, and I know this week is cheating a little bit because I'm pushing my real grocery haul off for a few days, but it works and it counts, so I'm gonna take it. We're up to $1,400. My first goal was $1,000, and then I changed it to $1,500, and now, who knows, we have a few more weeks to go. I might be able to get to 2,000, I'm not sure. But whatever it is, if we don't spend it on vacation, we'll save it for our next one. I'm just really excited about this. And I've had so many comments about people asking me, like, what are you gonna do next? Because we don't want this to end. I have a new idea of what we're gonna do next after this. So it's gonna be Whittle Down Wednesday until we go on vacation. We'll have a couple weeks. I'll show you our fun vacation videos, and then we're gonna start a new series after that, and I'm gonna keep showing you what I'm making for dinner. So stay tuned for that, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Wednesday.